Okay, welcome back, and still with Mr. Akishiju and Comrade Bello of the NLC. Actually, this is a topic that everybody will be calling. I promised that I was going to come back to the comrade, but you know what I'm going to do, sir, with your indulgence. Let me take the caller that came in while we were on break, and then you just take all of the comments. But hold on, sir.
One issue of pension and...
Okay, just hold it. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning to your guests.
Yes.
Especially to the labor man. I've listened to his presentation. But one question I want to ask him is this. What he's saying now, is it different from what the president had said? The president had made a broadcast that encompassed all those things he's complaining. And they were being discussed with various committees. Rather than NLC to wait and see to the implementation, and in an advisory position, they are so quick to be belligerently threatening brimstone and fire. It looks to me that the NLC is more interested in disorder in our society than the upgrading of our facilities and human resources we have in this country. It's not all about strike. Labor everywhere. We know labor in other clients. They are part and parcel of governance. They offer ideas for the government to proceed for the betterment of the people. But this one of using strike at the slightest opportunity to crown the country, it doesn't appear to be patriotic.
All right, Mr. George, I want to thank you very much for calling in. You heard the comments.
I do. There are several issues cropping up, but in terms of dealing with it, let me
pick them up one.
Yes. I think first and foremost, people should understand that it takes two to dialogue in terms of the willingness and the preparedness on the two sides. One indication that Labour was prepared for dialogue on this was not engaging government on the issue of subsidy itself, because our traditional position will have been that it's not possible to put ₦1 on petrol without discussion. But that's a very positive indication of Labour's willingness to dialogue. Yes, we proceeded. We started the process. We had some preliminary initial understanding. But development thereafter showed that on the part of government, there is no clear commitment to those. So we will see
at that time.
Yes, at that time, to the agreement that was preliminarily reached on June 5. Remember, this policy has been in place for 2 months.
That's right.
Nigerians couldn't get to work. Nigerians are paying 3, 4, 5 times for food. So when you are dialoguing, you must have at least the end in mind, okay, by 8 weeks. That was the initial period. We spent 6 weeks. We can't see anything concrete. So we should sit and be clapping for the government. Is that what they want? So we now said, okay, with these 2 weeks remaining, we need to put pressure on government to act swiftly. And we still serve this notice. They said we shouldn't go on strike, but nobody can ask citizens not to protest. So we took to the street to let Mr. President know that whosoever is working for him may not be giving him the right information. And thank God the president picked it and said, okay, I will deal with this, I will deal with this. But those are general policy statements. We will still need to do the nitty-gritty and return to negotiation. And
to work out the implementation.
Exactly.
Of these ideas.
So when our leadership met with him yesterday, he spoke in his address, if you remember, there was nothing on petrol on the refineries. We made that demand that you can't be subjecting Nigeria to rising price of petrol without dealing with local supply. Local supply, Dangote is a businessman. It's for profit. It's only government-owned refineries that government can use to modulate the impact of rising prices.
We don't have any.
We have 4.
But, you know.
We have 4 non-functional.
They are non-functional.
But government can make a commitment to make them functional. It's not rocket science.
Okay.
Government build these facilities for the benefit of Nigerians. And Mr. President has committed himself to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which mandates him to deploy the resources of the nation for the benefit of the people. So he has that commitment, and he kept reaffirming that.
Exactly.
But he's not going to be the one that will work out the nitty-gritty of this. Those who are having discussion with Labour were not showing the kind of commitment that we expect will give us speedy result. Speedy result that will address the pain that Nigerians were facing with rising transportation costs, with rising food costs. Nobody can deny.
Yes, but all of that, I would imagine, was before the meeting of Labour TUC leadership with Mr. President,
Yeah,
whereupon they were now reassured.
That's why I said our leadership communicated to us. They also released a statement that our meeting and our engagement with Mr. President last night is reassuring for us to resume dialogue. So I think that point is clear enough. And let me say, nowhere in the world, nowhere is the economy left to market forces completely.
Indeed.
So this engagement with Mr. President will continue.
All right.
Because we will need at some critical moment to call on Mr. President to intervene in the economy for the benefit of Nigerians.
Okay.
We cannot subject the country economy totally to market forces. Nowhere is that done.
Okay. Before I go over to Mr. Akinshiju in Abuja studio, Elder David in Alimosho has called in. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Yorin. God bless you, sir.
Thank you for calling, Elder.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Alhaji Bello.
Comrade Bello.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Bello.
Okay.
So, anyway, your conduct yesterday was very good, but it is the strike issue I'm against. And I want to tell you people that what you are demanding for is correct, but the timing was wrong. The president have just come in. People could allow it for some time. And you people are very lucky. You are dealing with a man who understands the problem of Nigeria. When people get there yesterday, you see I receive you people. And I wish Obasanjo could have done that the time of Oshimole. Yes, that was 2000. The past government have done that. And I want people to know too, that we are what of we are pensioners. That Obasanjo sees our pension. I retired in 1998. 2004, he liquidated 34 parastatals. And we could not get our pension, if not because of this government of APC 2015 that started to enroll us on pension and others. So people should appreciate it's not issue of strike. So you people should be patient with him. And talk about pension, talk of the jobless youth who were trained by this old pensioner. If those parastatals pass a job close down with article, 34 parastatal, Alaja and others, we are there today. There will be no joblessness. And these youth have no job. What of the market women and farmers that produce up, that bring the food? So it's not only the worker we push or actually covered. I was in the
Okay, Elder. Thank you very much for calling in, Elder. Mr. Kijiju, is there any, Nigerians are feeling the way they are feeling. So I was wondering if there's a way, can Labour be cut any slack? Because it doesn't look as if the whole idea of going on a protest was massively popular across board, up and down the country. And Elder David, for instance, has just, exemplified that a bit. But Labour, you've heard Labour's presentation, that what we're doing here is our job. And, we just need to assure that the worker is not really totally beaten underground and all that kind of thing. Is there, I know that's not the way it usually works, but if you were to make a case for Labour, which not very many people seem to be wanting to do, can Labour be cut some slack?
Well, of course, this form of engagement, protest, strikes, are principal tools, for Labour to use. But again, the timing, just like the last caller noted, the timing may be wrong because, again, it's also in the work manual of Labour that at a point in time there should be serious consideration given to constructive engagement. Constructive engagement is usually enabled in the circumstances of where clarity is yet to be given in a position that will be taken. So where there is a process ongoing and there is no clarity on the side of government or the party that is being negotiated with, that is when, of course, you review what are the issues and what are the prospects of these issues, and of course what will be the likely outcome of those issues, and then it will be based on that you take a position. What Nigerians are saying, of course, as aggregated by many of our callers here, is that the president had either preemptively or by whatever means had aggregated all these feelings and had come out in the broadcast to Nigerians and explained himself. It's not just about talking about the palliatives, but talking about the background to what led to the palliative, and also asked for Nigerians to trust him in such a way that while concluding the speech, he said he was going back to work, to make these things possible.
Right.
Now that's quite emotive. It creates connections, emotional connection. So I think before Labour, for Labour to go on that kind of strike, it is essential that they look at the context of what that protest will lead to.
Mr. Akisiju, I also want you to realize that our pressure, our processes, our strike, our protest, is not destructive.
Okay, that's important.
Those are measures to put in check those who have the power to serve the public good.
Okay.
That's those in government.
Okay.
Now, why am I saying this, sir? I need to conclude this. I need to conclude this.
In 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
You can blame Labour, you can do this, you can do that. But there are several things that government needs to do, and somebody needs to put pressure on government to do them.
Okay.
One of them is to cut the cost of governance, because it's the ordinary people that are paying the price now.
Okay, you come back to develop that.
The powerful, the politicians must pay the price of reforms.
Okay, you're gonna develop that. I'm gonna bring it back to you. Good morning, Mr. Mukhtar in Kano.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Good. I very much appreciate your discussions. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you doing?
Yes, sorry, that's an echo. Please ignore the echoes. Thank you very much.
Okay. I appreciate what you are discussing, but the most important thing for us to appreciate, the most important thing for us to appreciate is that Labour is a partner in progress. Labour is a partner in progress with the federal government. They are all partners in progress. They all want to develop the economy. Now, we should know that the first thing Mr. President is supposed to do is to say that he sacrifices his first 6 months' salary because of the oil subsidy, and he will now reduce the cost of governance. Because once he reduces the cost of governance, now the salaries of the ministers, the governors, and all those who are holding key political positions should sacrifice. And the reduction of the cost of governance will help the economy. And the common man will feel that, yes, everybody is being involved. But as far as it goes on, without this sacrifice, without this reduction of the cost of governance, and it increases day by day. You see the convoy of cars following a minister, the convoy of cars following the vice president. It's a lot. Fueling is a matter of money. Okay. So why shouldn't we reduce the cost of governance?
All right.
If we do that, it will help the economy. But not always the common man that suffers, that queued and reported the government.
Okay, thank you very much, Mukhtar in Kano. Appreciate the call that government can also do more than it is hitherto, to reduce the size of governance and save us more money. Mr. President was saying that up to $1 trillion had actually been saved.
Yeah, that's coming largely from the poor, because the poor are the people sacrificing, such that the minimum wage of 30,000 is completely impossible in Lagos, for instance, to take a worker to work 5 times in 1 month. Practically impossible.
As you know, 5 times in 1 month.
In 1 month.
But people are making efforts to whatever we can.
It also has a lot of implication for the economy itself, for productivity, for all of that.
Okay.
So, and that's why we are saying that in the process of reform, all segments of society must pay. Politicians must pay. The business class must pay. You do progressive taxing, the rich pays a little more, so that you can redistribute wealth in a manner that people are at the bottom. So I'm sure, as I said, I like the disposition of Mr. President. This is not going to be one-off. I'm sure leadership of Labour will, on a continuous basis, continue to engage Mr. President to embrace policies that will serve the interests of Nigerians.
Indeed. And really, that's when you look at it, that's why the last caller, Mukhtar in Kano, says Labour and government are partners in progress.
Of course, that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. But on occasion, Labour has been known to do what we interpret as flex a bit, say, why are you going
There's no flexing. It's just to make the other party realize the pain that we are feeling through and the seriousness with which we want our matters to be looked at.
Well, Mr. Kishi, this is where we wanted to be, isn't it? For Labour and government to not be at odds, and what we've really heard now, that dialogue will resume, and Mr. President, through his public speech, has indicated that this is not just talking for talking's sake. He's been categorical. He's been, specific about those things, all of which must be music to Labour's ears. Although somebody even just added out, don't forget the pensioners. That's another problem. So really, there's not very much more to talk about, but for everybody looking good at the end of the day is my guess.
Which is appreciated. I think it's even good that Labour is amplifying their position about concerning dialogue. I have always insisted that at points like this, partnership, Labour-government partnership is important. But again, talking about cost of government, I sometimes wonder on what exact template we advance this kind of arguments. We look at cost of government at political appointees alone. And yes, so how do we calculate that? A total of about 150 maximum, and of course that's at the level of the executive arm of government, and you had the 360 plus in the legislative arm. You're not talking of up to 1,000 personnel. So for me, if we are talking about reducing cost of government, we are actually talking about reducing personnel of the federal government. And when you are doing that, it also has implications for labor, because it means that workers would have to be retrenched. If we are spending 70% or more than 70% of our annual budget, on recurrent, and recurrent will mean, of course, personnel and personnel and other forms of allowance. What is the percentage of that budget, recurrent budget, that goes into funding the political arm of government, the politicians in government, and of course the civil service, the civil servants in government? We need to have clarity on that, so that we don't just create a cascading vision of what should be, and it's not actually the truth we are talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay then. Engineer Haruna in Delta State, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Okuyori, and how is everything?
Thank you very much for calling in. We're good.
First of all, appreciate what your wonderful work you people are doing.
Thank you, sir. Carry on, please.
Yeah, good morning, Okuyori.
Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful job you are doing.
You're so kind. Thank you.
First and foremost, Labour is not doing us any good. Truth be told, we are not kids again. Right from the time of President Obasanjo, you did. What has been happening to our refinery in this country? And in the same refinery, we have trade union, Tangason, and so on and so forth. Today, none of them has been able to tell us the stage of job done so far over the current rehabilitation they are doing. And they are there earning their heavy salaries. Labour has not deemed it fit to say, okay, we must fix this refinery, else we will not take it anymore. But because they are taking their salary, they are not affected in any way. But the generality of the country are suffering from this. It's part of what we are facing today. Look at the issue of Ajaokuta. In fact, I look at their case as a conflict of interest. If Labour are to do what they are meant to do, right from Texas, where Oshomole emanated from today, Senator Oshomole emanated from, supposed to work hand in hand with government to make sure these factories, those industries are resuscitated, so that the generality of the public to get work to do. That is the problem. If they are, look at Ajaokuta. If Ajaokuta is up and running today, you know the number of Nigerians that will be engaged, both directly or indirectly.
Okay. Engineer Haruna, I beg your pardon, sir. I'm going to have to interrupt, but thank you very much for calling in. Time is actually at premium. Once more, thank you very much, Engineer Aruna, calling in from Delta State.
I just want to quickly respond on the cost of governance. Maybe it will interest Mr. Kisejo that as a labor person, I've had engagement with government at the state level, and I've had to have to at the structure of salary of political office holders, vis-a-vis those of them in the public service, civil servants. And I can tell you for free that an SA, a special assistant, will probably take far more than a director, who has far greater responsibility and far greater budget to do. And when you look at it cascade down from the federal to the state to the local to the ward, the people who feed on the state without commensurate contribution is enormous, it's huge. And you also look at our history, where we are coming from part-time legislature to full-time legislature with all the full-time benefits, including pension and gratuity. You had a worker who served 35 years, 30 years, not even able to access decent pension. But you have people who serve for 4 years, 8 years, taking Umugo's benefit. So it is an area that government that is seeking reform, a government that is repeatedly saying, I want to serve Nigerians like President Bola Tinubu. It is an area that it must look into if you really want to serve the people and throw the benefit back to the people.
Okay.
All right. It's a very critical area. And then on the issue of pension that the gentleman raised, in our last NEC meeting, because Nigeria Union of Pensioners is an affiliate of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Yes, is an affiliate of the Nigerian Labour Congress. And interestingly, during our meeting, one pensioner who attended our meeting came up and said, we are discussing wages, we are discussing salary. In all our discussions, we must put the matter of pensioner. So again, the nitty-gritty of dialogue. When we get to that table, all those issues must be factored in. Whether you are doing palliative, whether you are doing health care, whatever you are doing, we must remember
the pensioners.
The pensioners. So, but if you don't create the ambience and the right environment for dialogue, all those critical issues won't filter in.
All right,
and they can never be addressed.
Thank you very much, Comrade Bello. And over to you now for your closing thoughts, because we've run out of time, Mr. Kishiju. It looks like all's well that ends well. He's explained that as Labour, we needed to create the environment where all of our issues will be taken seriously, and I think you don't get much more serious than Labour leaders meeting with Mr. President, which indeed has happened, and they got a very, very good response, so much so that they set up an extraordinary National Executive Council meeting where they'll be going through the process, explaining what had happened, and then, I suppose, we're coasting home, we're high and dry. So maybe in a sense, all's well that ends well. There won't be any disruption to the economy and to our lives, right, Mr. Kishiju?
We are thankful going forward, just like you noted, all is well that ends well. But for me, the important thing is that we should not just be hearing about labor, getting to see labor activating its strength and energy when there seems to be a case of what do I call it, contradictions and confrontation. It's important labor continues to be a part of our everyday existence, because what the union stands for is not just about negotiating wages and salaries. It is also about monitoring what government is doing on behalf of the workers. And at every point in time, proper, appropriate research works, opinion on rules, on policies and regulations should be.
As I say, thank you very much to you in our Abuja studio. And I also thank...
maybe my last word.
I didn't give you last word, sir.
Maybe my last word is to say that ordinary Nigerians, ordinary workers shouldn't be made to bear the cost of reform.
Okay.
It should be spread across the segment of society so that the ordinary people...
Comrade Ismail Bello, Deputy General Secretary, NLC. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much also, Mr. Kishiju, for your time as well. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.